On the news are Dr. Sambit Patra, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, Dr. Sumant Sriraman, political analyst, Manasvi Thapar, lawyer. But my first question goes to the man who has brought out several pieces of facts, as he calls them, Advocate Dr. Adesh Agarwala, chairman of the All India Bar Association. Dr. Adesh Agarwal, the country is asking a question. After the points that you've raised, you say that Mr. Hamid Ansari had asked Nusrat Mirza to be invited. You did not do so. You said he reduced his presence at the conference from 1 hour to 20 minutes. Hamid Ansari says absolutely nothing doing. I don't know the man. I have no relationship, never met him. Dr. Agarwal, how do you respond to that? It's your word against Mr. Hamid Ansari, who's been the vice president and held that high office for 10 years. Why should people believe you and not him?
This is, well, my question is, kindly don't believe me. Question is whether the vice president has come only for 20 minutes. Whether a president or vice president can leave the inaugural ceremony and inaugural ceremony is continuing. When I specially asked Mr. Ashok Diwan that if Honorable Vice President is unable to spare the 1 hour which already agreed, why he is curtailing, so he told that he is annoyed. So I requested him not to come because it will bring down the reputation of country that the second head of the state is leaving the conference in the midst of the inaugural ceremony. No chief guest is staying in the entire conference, entire seminar. This is a fact. But inaugural ceremony, either you attend or not attend.
But what is the evidence? What is the evidence that Mr. Hamid Ansari wanted you to invite Nusrat Mirza? Was it said directly by him to you? Was it said through his office?
No. Through his office, Mr. Ashok Diwan, who was director at that time, and today also he is working as OSD to the present vice president.
And you're saying he was annoyed, so he did not stay. Did you know anything about Nusrat Mirza? Why did you not invite him if the vice president wanted him to come? Why?
I was not knowing the background, but that was not the ground. I have not invited even the Chief Justice of Pakistan, Iftikhar Mohammad Chaudhry, who was sitting Chief Justice of Pakistan and who happens to be the Vice President of International Council of Jurists. And I have not invited any Pakistani. All bar leaders are known to me. Because I am not invited because we were going to discuss on international terrorism, and in India we feel that Pakistan is patronizing these terrorists.
So Mr. Nusrat Mirza,
when we are discussing, we are blaming.
Did he come for the 2010 conference, yes or no?
No, he has not come. We have not invited him. So he can't, unauthorized person can enter also. So he has not come, we have not invited in spite of the request of the Honorable Vice President.
So then let me ask Dr. Sambit Patra. I'm coming to you, Tehseen Poonawala.
Can I cross-examine him just
one minute? He is the head of the Bar Council, and you want to cross-examine him without filing in a court. You want to cross. 1 minute. Let me ask Dr. Sambit Patra. Dr. Sambit Patra, अगर नुसरत मिर्जा जी आए ही नहीं थे 2010 में, तो परसों का प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस आपने किया किस इशू पे? क्योंकि नुसरत मिर्जा तो आए ही नहीं थे, नंबर 1. एंड नंबर 2, He came in 2009. That is the real issue. But the allegations that have been made or the statements that have been made by Dr. Agarwala can be easily answered by the OSD to the Vice President. And the Congress says, if you have any charge, if you can prove any charge, why don't you investigate the matter and take the due action against the former Vice President? So what's stopping you?
See, Navika, there are two parts to the question. Part one, as far as the credibility of these whole accusations are concerned, and second, whether we would investigate and in fact take action against the former Vice President. Coming to the first part of the question that you have asked, look, as far as Hamid Ansari and the Congress party are concerned, they were very conveniently only skirting around the first part, that 2010 Nusrat Mirza was not invited. And very conveniently they had, in fact, put behind the wheel that 2009 also, there was an event by Jama Masjid United Forum in which they had shared the dais. And once these pictures got viral, once these pictures were out, in fact, the Congress party and Mr. Hamid Ansari were left with no other option. And that's the reason as to why they have retorted to just a single line denial. The second part is, just imagine what Mr. Agarwala says today. Mr. Agarwala says that Mr. Hamid Ansari, the then Vice President, in fact for the International Jurist Conference on Terrorism, wanted that Mr. Nusrat Mirza should again be invited to India and should be a participant in the conference, and to which in fact the communication was made to Mr. Agarwala, the organizer, through his OSD, Mr. Diwan, Ashok Diwan. Of course, this shows that there was some kind of connection between the Vice President and the concerned journalist, and this became a news, not became because the Bharatiya Janata Party brought out the news. This became a news because the journalist in question, Mr. Mirza, he came out and accepted to the fact while he was being interviewed by a YouTuber that, look, I was invited by none other than the Vice President of India, and I worked for the ISI. I went to India, keeping all the rules aside. I should not have been allowed more than 2 or 3 times, but I went to 5 cities of India. The Vice President invited me, and all these informations I passed on to the ISI. So just imagine a democratic country like India, Pakistan being its better known as far as peace process is concerned. It wants to bleed India, when such an important disposition comes by a journalist who was participant in various programs in India, that too concerning the Vice President who has reigned the longest time in India as a Vice President for 10 long years. Shouldn't this be a point of discussion? Of course this should be a point of discussion, and the onus squarely lies with the Vice President, the then Vice President, Mr. Hamid Ansari, to come clean on this. As far as the investigation and the second part of your question is concerned, well, Navika, I would say, look, this is the tactics of the Congress party. They would first tease you. Acha, agar humne galti kiya hai, to hame investigate karo na. And the moment the ED calls them, then the hell breaks loose. I mean, 21st we are investigating Sonia Gandhi. We, in the sense, the country is investigating Sonia Gandhi on the National Herald case. She has been summoned by the enforcement director. For all these years, the Congress party was teasing us.
Any charge against national security, ED can't investigate.
No, I gave you an example. I gave you an example of ED and Sonia Gandhi, that we were teased that even Sonia Gandhi is not being investigated. So as far as Hamid Ansari is concerned, categorically and very responsibly I will say, look, Vice President's post is a very important, coveted, revered post. These are serious allegations. Please don't think that these allegations are not under scrutiny. Of course, keeping in view the importance of the post, these scrutiny probably may not be in the public domain, but of course a lens would be cast.
Fair point, Dr. Patra. Now let me come and ask this question to Tehseen Poonawalla. And Tehseen Poonawalla, I know you are jumping, you are raising your hand, and you're extremely restless because you want to cross-examine Adish Agarwala ji. But I will not give you that pleasure. Why? I'll tell you. I'm saying forget what Nusrat Mirza was saying. I'm saying forget what Mr. Agarwala is saying. I'm saying even forget the 2010 conference. Let's come to only one question on this debate which I'm going to really stick to as a matter of fact, which is the picture on your screen.
That's right.
And that picture is of 2009. within a year of 26/11, within a year of a terror attack on the heart of India, within a year when Mumbai was held captive for nearly 4 days, within a year of 157 people losing their lives. Within a year of all of that happening, and within a year of losing braves who tried to protect people's lives, we see the former vice president sitting on the dais with a Pakistan journalist who even if I say, put aside that he's an ISI agent, the fact that he's a Pakistani and he's sitting on the dais at a time when the bilateral ties between the countries have been suspended following the 26/11 attack. What is that Pakistani doing on the dais with the Vice President of India, a constitutional position, possibly the number 2 in protocol after the President? I want to ask you, what is he doing there? Because you know and I know that any invitation to any VVIP means there is a rigorous manner in which the seating plan, the dais, the people, even the meters, how many meters does the VVIP have to walk to his chair, how many people will be sitting to his right, how many people to his left, how far will they be seated, and whether he is coming in from the left of the room or the right of the room, there is a proper drill that happens. Are you saying Mr. Hamid Ansari did not know who is sitting, and if he knew who is sitting, how was he discussing how to thwart terrorism with a Pakistani? Are the Pakistanis going to give us lessons on how to deal with terrorism in India 1 year after 26/11?
Namaskar, ma'am. Thank you so much for...
Which the seating plan, the dais, the people, even the meters, how many meters does the VVIP have to walk to his chair, how many people will be sitting to his right, how many people to his left, how far will they be seated, and whether he is coming in from the left of the room or the right of the room, there is a proper drill that happens. Are you saying Mr. Hamid Ansari did not know who is sitting, and if he knew who is sitting, how was he discussing how to thwart terrorism with a Pakistani? Are the Pakistanis going to give us lessons on how to deal with terrorism in India 1 year after 26/11?
Namaskar, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm really appalled that you can smile when we're talking about 26/11.
Smile. Namaskar, ma'am. Thank you for having me, sure. Namaskar to all my fellow panelists and all your viewers. Very long question, a lot of things said. Please give me the courtesy because I want to explain everything. But yes, like you were extremely appalled by the picture of the Honorable ex-Vice President.
And your smile.
Fair point.